That Incubus album went multi-platinum. Do you get compensated as such, or is this a scenario where DJ Kilmore grabs you on your lunch break because you're down the hall, you contribute to an album where they reap all the financial success for? Because I got to say, I'm only human, and if I kept contributing to albums that made other artists drive in Lambos and live in mansions, I might start to get jaded. I'd have to find fulfillment in other areas.
Bro, I don't. It's a painful story. I remember. Okay, so this turns into a bigger conversation, like most of my life. But I remember it was very much a lunch break thing. We were like, yeah, no problem, let's do it. And then I remember talking to my attorney, or Cut and I talking to our attorney for J5, and we were like, doesn't scratch verses constitute as publishing? And our attorney was like, no, that doesn't constitute as musical writing. I'm like, nah, that's bullshit. I'm like, we're doing full verses with cuts. There's no other instruments, and we're not using pre-copyrighted material to do our cuts and scratches over these verses. There's no samples. This is all. I'm like, this is a tone. I'm like, this is rhythmic. This is melodic. That all constitutes writing. I was throwing everything at it, and she was like, they're not going to budge. They don't want to give up any points, any percentage of the publishing, nothing. And so there's your answer.
And then the next day, we played it for Brandon, and everybody in the band's open-minded. So Brandon was blown away. He was like, what? He's like, you guys did this in one day? We were like, yeah. So he's like, it's got to be on the album. We all just knew it had to be on the album.
So to date, I got a plaque. That's what I got. But I love that band dearly. But, I remember at least fighting for it. I remember saying, Cut, yo, we should really fight for this. This is a big band. I mean, they're not a big, they weren't big at the time. I said, this can go somewhere. And I just felt it. The Persian in me, I guess. And so, no, but I tried, and it didn't get anywhere, man. Crying over, some publishing money that, it's just so minute.
That was my first record with Incubus, and I kind of was going through the same struggles, actually. I in fact, back then I had the same lawyer as Jurassic 5. So we might have had the same lawyer. I don't know individually if he had the same lawyer, but it was kind of the same thing. And, that had actually never reached to me. I wasn't a full member of the band at that time, so I wasn't making any of those kind of decisions. That was 23 years ago almost. And I don't recall Newmark ever coming to me and talking about that and us having a conversation about that. But it's definitely something that I would have championed for both of them had I known that. I wasn't, really checking for how much anybody else was getting. I was just making sure I was trying to get mine. And that was the exact same kind of struggle I was going through because it was scratching and no one knew how to deal with it. It's not vocals. You're not singing it on the record. So it's kind of the same thing. Yeah, knowing that, I'll definitely have a conversation with Newmark about that because I can't recall us ever even talking about it. And I've hung out with him a bunch since then. And the last time we played the Hollywood Bowl, we actually performed that song all together live. And it was one of the greatest moments I've had on stage with Incubus. And, we were a young band. And like I said, I wasn't a full member of the band. So those kind of decisions weren't coming my way. I wasn't privy to any of those conversations. And, I'm not sure the guys in the band even were. That might have just stuck with a manager who we had since fired. Shortly after that, we had fired that manager. And then, we've been through another management or two since then. But, we were on a contract with Sony that was, how do I say it nicely? Oppressive. It was pretty like, we were in a hole and we were digging a hole financially with Sony and coming to a spot where we could never recoup. So, eventually we ended up getting in a lawsuit with them and settling and things like that. But that wasn't until 2003. So.
And you went to Epic Records next, right?
Yeah, but that's still Sony. That was a division of Sony.
It's the same.
Yeah. It was underneath Sony. So the record industry is a little shady. And I definitely, had I known that or had they come to me and said something, I don't know if I would have been able to do anything about it. not being a full member at that time. Like I wasn't even the band a year at that point. But I definitely, the guys are good guys. I know that in my band after being with them for a while. So I'm not even sure they know that.
Wow. Well, I appreciate you being honest about that, because I was about to say I thought being under Epic Records was liberating because you were able to make that record without a producer, and they had like Pearl Jam and Korn and Rage Against the Machine, and you're kind of this newish group, and they kind of gave you that autonomy. But I guess things aren't what they seem, I guess.
Well, it's all about your contracts. They did let us do pretty much whatever they wanted. We had a really cool A&R guy, and he would come in and check in on us. And we weren't a big band then, so we weren't on their radar that much. They were checking for other bands at that time, and then we dropped that record, and I think even our own record label was like, whoa, there's something here. And for us, we're just making music. We make the music, and then the audience perceives it, and we don't have any control over that.